So I have an old friend Bill, and about 5 years ago he was very down on his luck. He had just been laid off from a pretty decent job and was desperately looking for a new one. He was behind on bills, barely able to feed himself and his dog with his bank account slowly running dry, and just weeks away from being evicted from his apartment. After applying at dozens of jobs over several months, he was finally able to get an interview for a nice job that would really turn things around for him. So the day of the interview comes and he gets all dressed up nice, suit and tie, all ironed and starched. Hair was freshly cut and styled. He looked like $1,000,000 that day and was determined to make sure he secured the position. So he pulls up to the office building and heads inside to talk to the boss for the interview. He introduces himself and the boss looks at him and heaves a heavy sigh and says, "Look, I'm very sorry to do this to you last minute and I appreciate you coming for the interview, but I actually just gave the job to another guy that interviewed before you, so I'm sorry but I promised the job to him. He's right outside taking a break before he begins his first day." Bill looked out the window and could see a guy who looked like he was feeling great about himself just having gotten this job. Now this made something inside Bill just snap. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. He just rushed downstairs and outside to the other man and shouted at him. He then found himself on top of the guy beating him senseless and yelling things like, "I can't believe you ruined my life," while just continuing to hit the guy in the face over and over. And he was in such a state of rage he found himself going back to his car and taking out his gun, and he comes over and shoots the poor guy in the arm as well. There happened to be a police station right next door, and after hearing the commotion, 2 officers rushed out to see what was happening. Bill, seeing the officers running over to them, he finally snaps out of his rage and drops his gun and raises his hands in surrender, and says, "I'm sorry officers, I know this is horrible, just go ahead and arrest me." And the officers just look at each other and back at Bill, and one of them says, "Arrest you? We saw the whole thing and are gonna offer you a job." And that's the story of how my friend Bill became a cop.